Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about a book called Annihilation. I kept spelling it wrong. I kept saying Annihilation. I don't know why the entire time, and then I realized that my English isn't good. Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. Now, I was highly recommended this novel. Some of my friends. Basically, I was told if you love the video game Control or the lore of Alan Wake, or if you love the writings within the SCP Foundation world, then this is definitely something up your lane. Now, I named this YouTube channel Wholesome Bookworm because I'm often very positive about majority of the books I read. And I always want to try to find the best qualities of a book to present to you. When I, let's say, criticize something, I want to do it fairly, and I don't want to be ultra negative and say it's bad or whatever. Not every book is not for everybody. Every majority of the people I've met love Annihilation. They think it's a great book. Now, personally, for me, it didn't work out very well. What I do want to praise is that the very interesting world that is created here. Definitely that SCP Foundation vibe. It's basically the story of these four women who enter this area called Area X that has been zoned out from the rest of humanity. And there's something in this area that throughout the last 30 years it has created anomalies, let's say. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. In many ways, this book felt like the first act of a much larger book. Why? I know there's a trilogy. I totally understand that. But this book on its own does not deliver on any of the promises that it sets up at the beginning of the book. I know there's a popular movie, and I know in the movie, a little bit more context is provided on what's happening. But in the book, you're only reading one person's perspective. The biologist within the group, the female biologist, that is actually here in this Area X for her own objectives that are somewhat secret at the beginning of the book. There's not much provided there. Like, there's a lot of, you know what I mean? There's like a big, meal here, but you're only getting a very tiny bite. And this is more of a sampler to a much larger story that maybe in the other books are completed, but it does not feel complete. If you're definitely coming into this book and expecting like a final ending that kind of fulfills everything, there isn't. There are not enough pages, I would argue. This is a pretty short book. I like its length. That's pretty sweet, but I think more books should be this size. But it just doesn't fulfill a lot of that promises it has. And all of that would be forgiven, if not, in my opinion, to probably one of the worst characters I've read. This character, the main protagonist, is extremely tedious to read her sections of the book. She's one of those people who's mysterious for the sake of being mysterious. It's kind of like those teenage romances where like a girl is interested in a guy, and the guy is like super mysterious and kind of closed off from the rest of society, kind of like a Twilight situation when they're in the school. Those scenes it pretty much has that vibe. And throughout the book, even the female protagonist herself admits multiple times that there's nothing interesting about her, that her husband has been trying time after time to get close to her, but she keeps saying that there's really not much to her that more that it seems, even though she gives off that mysterious person vibe. And I was so confused why we even had a protagonist like this, because at no point was this character relatable in any way, because there was not much there to go off of. She was closed off from the rest of society for the sake of being closed off. She was in a relationship with this person, with the husband, for the sake of being in a relationship, and not really because, like, at many points in the book, she admits that she's not very affectionate towards her husband, for example. And it reaches a point where I'm like, okay, but what is even the point of her, let's say, getting married in the first place, or it's strange. It's almost the only thing she's really interested in is preserving the environment, which is awesome. There could be some interesting elements there that could have been played off, but like there's really not much on the bone that was provided here. There's also other weird quirks in the writing style. Writing is great. It's really cool. There's just some weird stuff like, for example, I think there's a bunch of sentences that are repeated so many times, such as this person cursed, that person cursed. You don't know what the curse words are. It's just kind of vaguely said that that person did this thing, and that thing is mentioned so many times throughout the book. This is just one example. There's so many other examples. There, a lot of effort is put into avoiding dialogue or any type of dialogue. And when dialogue actually happens, it's not interesting. People talk to each other like they're robots. And I think that's also partially caused because in the story, the characters don't know each other's names. They know each other as professions. And it's almost that this Southern Breach institution that has brought them here has almost done this on purpose. Is kind of from what it seems is to make sure that these people do not have a bond. They address each other as if in numbers, they address each other as their professions basically. So yeah, I don't know. I was looking forward to fall in love with this, to be honest. But just the weak character, the lack of dialogue and the very strange dialogue that was there was just not enough. And then the promises to the Lord that were kind of made from the start, and apologies, I need to clarify this. Promises were not necessarily made, but when you start the book saying there's this very interesting zone, there's these very interesting things happen, such as the writing on the wall, and by the end of the book, nothing is really properly explained, you are left needing a more concrete ending that is not provided here. And if it is expected to me to read 2 more books after this one to truly receive that ending, then I'm not willing to have that commitment. I wanted to fall in love with this so badly. The subject is completely out my lane. Very cosmic horror-y. I love cosmic horror. But besides that, beside the dialogue, beside all of those issues, the writing and the world building is solid. And I would love to read something else by JeffVanderMeer, but like this one, I don't think I can truly continue this series forward. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people out there love it, and I'm probably sure that you're gonna love it. That's just my opinion. But thank you very much for spending your time here with me. Have a good one. Bye bye.